you say moves now? Why do you hate guitar so much now, old minister? Done? It's unbelievable. I'm still making the most of this kind of time being on lockdown. Okay, I'm done playing guitar. Okay. I'm still working, and Laura, to her credit, has been just an incredible, mom and awesome with Eden.
One teddy. Only one teddy.
It's like I can work, and then when I'm done, there's no commute or whatever. It's like I literally just get up from my office and walk into the kitchen and spend family time.
My dad and I have the porch.
I always figured I would be a parent, but it was not something where that was my mission in life to be a parent or a dad.
A red dog on a blue tree. A blue dog.
It's there's just this whole different level of love in your heart that you can't know or experience or understand until you have a child. I know. That's the spider, I know. More than anybody else, I get to mold her from the very beginning and not mold her to my own designs, but at least I can instill these incredible beliefs in her at such an early age that then I just see the potential for what she can accomplish being so limitless, With a blanket over him? If I can just sort of show her that pretty much anything is possible, it really truly is, what will that look like, right? What can she do in this world? What can she accomplish? And then how much impact can she have? And then can she spread that to other people? And so I'm trying to do that, I guess, with my coaching and my training and my mentorship and my leadership and all these things that I'm doing. And then it would be bizarre if I wasn't also trying to do that for my daughter. Okay, you want up? Got it. I grew up in rural Maryland. So my early childhood was me, my sister, other kids in this neighborhood, sometimes my cousins. We would play in the woods behind our house. We would pick wild onions during the summer and rinse them off and eat them. Or I'd go hiking in West Virginia with my family and be picking wild blackberries and berries and things. It was a very close-knit community where my going away party was in my friend's barn. And then we moved cross country to San Diego. I went to a private school in La Jolla. We go from that to an environment where nobody knew me, and I was this pudgy kid with glasses who really wanted to fit in. And it's almost kids can smell it when you really want to fit in and you want to be accepted. They kind of can be extra mean or extra harsh. So, I think that probably had some baggage that then affected me going into adulthood too, and feeling maybe I'm not good enough and I don't belong.
All right, so why don't we start off with how did you end up as a copywriter?
In 2011, I was in Marble Falls, Texas, teaching kids about the outdoors and nature, and I thought that's what I was going to do for an extended period of my life. But in May of that year, I went hiking with my dad back in San Diego. We hiked up a mountain, and I was just home for a weekend, and I got a call maybe a week or two later that my dad had been diagnosed with cancer, and he ended up having stage 4 cancer. I went back home to San Diego to spend as much time as I could with my dad before he passed. It was a difficult time and challenging, but of course I was glad I did it because I got to be there and spend this quality time with my father. And then he passed at the end of October of 2011. And after that, I needed a break. So I ended up booking a trip to Las Vegas. The final day, Sunday, we go to Caesar's Palace. We're sitting there. A girl walks into the card room. I immediately think she's absolutely beautiful. And I make a joke to the table. I hope she gets seated at our table. But she did get seated at our table. Somebody asked her what she did for a living. And she said, I'm a writer. I wanted to talk to her. So I said, what kind of writer? She said, I'm a copywriter. I was like, wow, copywriting, that's really interesting. And I pulled out my phone and Googled, I think the iPhone 1 or whatever, but I Googled what's a copywriter because I had no idea what a copywriter even was. The girl and I hit it off and ended up moving in with me pretty much after we met. And I was out there for this Fortune 500 company doing this outside sales job where I was in the hot sun all day, and I made $200 a day, and I'd come home and she was in her underwear drinking a beer and she'd made $1,200 in the same day. And it got to the point where I was like, well, what am I doing here? I want to do what you're doing. And I asked her, do you think I could be a copywriter? Do you think I could make money doing that? And she was like, yeah, you seem like a great writer, and I'll help you out. And so I posted something on a site called Warrior Forum, and I charged $149 for a sales letter. I woke up that next morning and I had $298 in my PayPal account. So that was like the whole aha moment of, oh my God, people will pay me to write. I can do that.
And are you with that woman, the copywriter, today?
Yes, and then that woman is my wife.
Oh, okay.
And we have a daughter together, and yeah, it was a really fortuitous moment in my life, to be sure. What you guys are gonna see is I'm actually only gonna have like 12 or so slides here on this entire PowerPoint. And then a lot of what we're gonna be doing is me walking you through stuff and workshopping. We really are gonna workshop. The goal of what we're doing here today is that by the time we're finished, you have everything in place where you can leave here and write your own sales letter, and that you can do it in a pretty remarkably fast amount of time. A winning sales letter utilizes direct response marketing. So what is direct response marketing? Really, it's marketing where the objective is to get your prospect to take a direct response or to take a direct action, right? So they're gonna buy something or set an appointment or get on the phone, specifically telling our prospect to respond to our marketing. We're saying, take this action, do this thing, whether that's to buy a product or again, to book an appointment, whatever.
His commitment to the craft and his ability to simplify things and teach them is, I think, a huge reason why people will say he's one of the best copywriters ever. Because not only does he do the work, he's able to translate it into such an understandable way.
Most copywriters at his level can't teach what they do or how they do it, where he literally breaks it down to a step-by-step formula that can take a writer who is very new and turn them into a competent writer that can write winners in a tiny fraction of the time that it would take.
Of course I'm taking notes. I mean, he's a smart guy. I was gonna hire him just for myself, and then I thought to myself, well, why would I not give my entrepreneurs the same access? So that's how we ended up starting to work together.
I think one of the things I learned with Stefan as I got to know him more and more is he really is an abundant mindset that really wants everybody around him to win, and he really cares about your success, and he likes seeing people win. Some people, they like to see you win, kinda.
He's a 90-year-old man in a 32-year-old man's body who wears like tiny little socks and old man shoes and coats. He's a quirky dude. I mean, we all are, right? If you're gonna get good at this stuff, you can't be particularly normal. But he's a very ethical guy, pretty funny, straightforward, and just seems to really care about doing good work and being the best, and more importantly, on teaching people.
In these forums, it's not just like oh, your cat probably has like this or that. It's these stories of these women with cats, and it's like, my Fluffy is, 2 years old and a real rascal. And, when I come home, he circles around, and so I bought him like one food, but Fluffy doesn't like that. So I got him this wet food that I now use. And like, he loves to sit at the window and stare out at birds, and like this whole freaking thing. And it's like, 500 words, and like, oh, by the way, your cat has fleas, at the very end. But it's like, they give you so much information on forums. So I just love going to forums because people overshare and they tell stories and it's emotional. And by taking that stuff and then answering those research questions in forums, you can then kind of like appropriate their language too. You can take what the language they use or the slang or the terminology, and you can write in your sales copy in a way that's going to then connect with them on a deeper level. A lot of people, when they teach, they're really just talking at people, and it's like either you get it or you don't get it. And I'm really trying to like talk to them and with them and get them to really understand, and then making sure like they don't understand, then like I don't keep going. It's like, we'll keep going once you actually understand this, and then just going deeper and deeper. I think that's really important. As we're explaining like our value proposition and the unique mechanism and what we're offering, people just really learn through stories and metaphors. And so, especially for a concept that maybe is like a little bit like dry, your metaphor could be something of like just like a sculptor starts with a big like block and then chisels away to create like a beautiful statue. Your creative talent that's inside of you right now is like that block, but through these classes we're gonna chisel away to end up with this beautiful like creation at the end of it type thing. So like, there's a metaphor you could use to sell your service or business or something like that. Does that also make sense? I'm gonna go slowly. Does it not make sense? Does everyone like, what the hell is he talking about? It's totally okay.
Before this, I would have looked for other examples, kind of like you were saying at the beginning, how you showed us examples.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so I'll write this part and try to figure out what I need to do here. And it would be, I would feel like it was very tedious
Right.
and annoying. And so what you did by really being thorough with us throughout the day and giving us time for Q&A, and I love your humor as well. I just want to say thank you for breaking it down step by step by step by step. And when you were coaching her, I actually was typing out my own story.
I heard you typing furiously. I can hear it.
I was typing everything and inserting it just without overthinking and not being perfectionist. I'm like, what's my thing? What's my thing? So I feel like my whole thing is written.
Yeah, that's amazing. I've always been a critical thinker. I've always been a bit of a contrarian. I've always liked looking at different perspectives. So whatever like the status quo is, and like how can I do it differently and better.
For every new piece that you write, there's something new to learn, there's something new to share, and there's something new to try. And there is probably nobody who lives and breathes that fact more than Stefan.
Stefan understands being great is not something that happens to you, it's something that you work at. Right? I've never seen him just kind of be like, hey, I'm amazing and I'm always going to be amazing. The guy's always hustling. He's always working. He's always trying to learn.
Every new piece, even if it's like a gut health offer, he'll start from the very beginning and he'll research from the very beginning all over again. And guess what? That's how he finds a brand new pain point or this related pain point that hasn't been talked about yet.
I'm never stoked to write copy. I'm never stoked. I got really burned out in like 2017, 18. Because it was always like, I have to write copy. And I thought about it from the perspective of like, no, I get to write copy. I'm getting paid to be creative. I'm gonna get paid to do research and learn new things. I'm gonna get paid to come up with unique ideas and to craft a story. Those are things that I love to do. It's not like I don't know what to do. It's like I always start at the same place. Start doing research and then suddenly you find a story from somebody that's just really interesting. There's a flow thing that happens, like a flow state. But really it's because I'm uncovering unique and original ideas, ideally that nobody's ever had before, and I'm going to put them into like, you know, this format that then will get people to take action. You're creating whole new ways of looking at a problem or looking at the road. And there's a very intoxicating like power to that.
What I think is just absolutely unbelievable about Stefan is his speed and his endurance and his ability to do this day in and day out at such a high level, and to get so much work out there. And I told him yesterday when we had this first conversation, I was like, you have changed the way that I approach my own production schedule, because I know that it's such a powerful lever to be pulling on, but I almost didn't even know it was possible until I saw it being done the way you're doing it.
I mean, I think there's different levels of obsession. Name the basketball player who like wanted to be the best at free throws, so they shot like 1,000 free throws a day every day type thing. All right, so we're gonna jump right in with research, which is the R in RMBC. For me, it's as simple as just writing every day and then studying what's working and then wanting feedback and taking feedback and then applying that feedback to what you're doing to continuously improve your craft. We can see there's a ton of these forms anyway, right? So let's look at what we got here. This is weightloss.fitness.com. But they show up really fast. So I also want to make sure it's active, and it is. So weight loss of health conditions is kind of interesting. I need to do this for me and only me. I need to prove to myself that I am strong and will be able to accomplish anything. I want my husband to look at me with pride and say, this is my wife, and look how great she looks. Okay, that won't happen, but he will be very proud of me. He has always supported me in all of my goals. That is when I actually set them. I don't want to keep letting him down with failure. He does not care what I look like, I don't believe. It is really hard to keep failing. I want to prove to him that I can do this, that I am strong enough. She's not talking about, having sex with her husband. She wants his admiration and respect and him to be proud. So you just see all of this stuff here and it's that's all going to this research, right? What are their hopes and dreams? It's a bunch of this shit. What are their victories and failures? Well, not a ton of victories here, but the failures, failing, going from 10 to 12 and then not from 12 to 10 and then back. I mean, tons of stuff there. You could write out, married, sister, stuff like that. There's just one little thing like this is awesome. And by the way, I think she kind of keeps updating it here. She does. So I'm gonna read through this. I'm gonna pause it. But that's just that. This gets me. You can hear I'm talking faster and I'm a little more excited because I just love this stuff with research. It gets me really, really amped. Okay. Seriously though. I fucking love that. That's what I'm saying with these forums. It's like people are like, hi, like I'm your target customer. Here's everything about me. And you're like, okay, let me just repeat that back to you. And be like, I have a solution. Tired of failing all the time? Like, I am. Like, hey, no problem, you know? What's your husband look at you with admiration and respect? I do. Perfect, you know? It's like, fucking just makes it so much easier. Ugh. This is where I get excited about copy.
Why does that get you so excited, man?
Cause it's like I know, I just know I'm gonna have an edge almost. It's like, as funny as that sounds, like for me, for whatever reason, I don't know why. You know, we can explore it, but I like really hate the idea of, I just don't want to not be, maybe because I believe in communication so much, I just hate the idea of like not being understood. When I do this research, I can start to really, I really understand who my market is and their pain points. And then I just know that my copy, because of this one thing, is gonna be so much better than what most people would write, just because I'm doing this one little step. And then that makes me happy from like makes me excited because I'm gonna create something that's gonna be effective, I guess. And like that gets me excited too. The most I can do being here on this earth in this time is to do something that matters, right? That's something I get to do. I get to choose that. I didn't get to choose when I was born. I got really lucky, my background, anything else, but I get to choose what I do with what I have. And what I have is like a tremendous gift. The probability of me being here is so infinitesimally low. And then not only to be here like one of the best times, right, as far as I can tell, it's crazy. And so when I think about all that, I'm like, if I don't make the most of this time on this earth, like I'm a fucking asshole. Like I'm such an asshole. Like what a gift, right? And so part of that is like, well, how do I make the most of it? And it's like, I can be a hedonist and just seek pleasure all of the time. And you know, I love pleasure as much as the next person. I like nice things and all that, but like you gotta do something more. Part of it is really just helping other people to see that. If you're gonna sit around and like work at a job you hate, and this is your, again, you know, this is your life, but it's like literally this and like this massive, like you're a speck, a blip. I can't even, you know, the space is infinitesimal. And you're gonna spend that time like miserable and unhappy and broke and hating your life and depressed and overweight and whatever this shit is, like that's how you're gonna use this incredible gift you've had. Like I can't have you do that. Like if I can help it, I wanna try to help. And so for me, that means like trying to really coach and teach and train and show people a better way. And so these excuses and the self-limiting bullshit of like, you're being in your own way and it's not your fault. It probably goes back to your childhood and like your own story of I'm not good enough, I don't belong. But if we can get through and past all that shit and help you to make the most of this time in your life here, I think it's a very holy, like devout, like amazing mission and purpose. And I think that's really on a super deep level, like what drives me.